Well, fellas, we're getting controversial today because right off of the Brad Holmes, L'Jarius Sneed discussion, let's talk a little Hendon Hooker. This one's going to spark some. I can't wait for this one. Lee McNeil went on
just controversial stuff back to back today, boys. I'm getting red. I don't know why, dude. I think
I was excited about this show. Well, Green Light with Chris Long podcast. He had a Lee McNeil on, and Hendon Hooker got brought up, and we're going to listen to what Lee McNeil has to say. And I got some things I want to get off my chest. So let's say that. All right, let's listen to this video. Here's Lee McNeil talking about Hendon Hooker.
He's doing well. He's doing very good. I get along with Hendon obviously because he's from here. He's from North Carolina.
Is he?
Greensboro. Yeah. He's from Greensboro. About an hour, if that, from here.
Yeah.
From Raleigh. So yeah, we got that connection there. But Hendon's doing good. He was at practice. He was our scouting quarterback.
Yeah.
His arm was smooth as butter.
He's got a smooth delivery.
Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful. His arm is strong too. He got a strong arm.
And we don't get to see it because we don't get to see practice tape. You don't get to see it until the preseason. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, y'all are gonna see it.
Yeah.
You're gonna see it.
Yeah.
And I know he's working right now. I know he's working.
Yeah.
But he looks good.
How?
Yeah, Hendon, he's doing well.
I saw this clip and I thought he was talking about Jared Goff. I didn't realize he was talking about Hendon.
You talking about Hendon Hooker?
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you guys go
Booner's
first.
gonna get mad.
No, it's not that I'm getting mad. It's like, what is he saying that we? What is he saying that we already don't know? Did you guys go watch the full podcast? Because I did.
I did not.
I'm sure everyone in the chat that saw this clip didn't watch the full podcast because there was a part earlier in the podcast. Take Jeff off the screen. There was a part earlier to where they brought up Jared Goff as well, and they talked about how Jared Goff is a franchise guy, and Jared Goff is, he respects Jared Goff, and he's a Detroit Lion at heart, and he loves what Jared Goff does. Like, this was a clip. Shout out Easy. I don't know if Easy clipped it or who did. It was a clip that was, we know Hendon Hooker can throw the ball. We know what he can do. His skill set is. I go back to this every single time, and I will die on this hill. It's if Hendon Hooker can win football games, I'm all in for it. All I want in the NFL is a quarterback who can win football games. Jared Goff can do that right now, and he's already proven it. Now, if Hendon Hooker, with his skill set, which is better than Jared Goff's, can do that and win games, I'm in for that too. I just don't. It's like Jared Goff's going to get an extension at the end of the day. Like, that's where, to me, it's a little. He's going to get an extension. He will. They already had conversations in the season of extensions being talked about. When the season ended, they said they're in conversations. If they're in conversations, that means both sides want to get an extension done, which shows me that they want Jared Goff in Detroit.
Yeah, and we haven't even.
That's where I'll die on that.
Yeah, and we still haven't even seen Hendon Hooker in a preseason game or anything at all. So, I mean, it's promising to have someone or have a backup for the future. And basically this is probably our first good backup in God knows how long if he actually does pan out. But this is Jared Goff's team, man. He just took us to the NFC Championship game. Clickbaity stuff, Jeff. I know it was clipped to this part, but this ain't it. This is Jared Goff's team. Hendon Hooker's time may come, but it's not right now, and it's probably not even anytime soon. This is Jared Goff's team.
Hey, don't diss Jeff Driscoll like that either. He was a solid backup for the Detroit Football Lions, and Sean Hill, both solid.
I would have been a better backup than both of them.
Talk to him.
Hey, Sean Hill.
I would have.
Don't diss Sean Hill. Don't diss Sean Hill. But
Fuck
Jeff, I saw you. You were ready to cook. You were ready to cook, Jeff.
Lucas.
I'm sorry,
Jeff just wants a different quarterback. Go ahead, take your quarterback, Jeff.
No, hey,
I'm going to say the same thing to everyone that talks about Hendon Hooker. I have something to rebuttal, and it's just a one-sentence thing. So go ahead, and then I'll rebuttal.
Okay. Hendon Hooker, guys, he's the future. He is the future. I promise you.
Oh,
I know it. I know it. Listen, let me talk to you for a second. Sit down, have a seat, get comfortable.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker was supposed to be the Heisman. All right, he's supposed to win the Heisman. He went down, and he was somebody that needed some work, right? That offense at Tennessee, a little gimmicky. A lot of the stuff was sideline throws. It was just weird. I watched Kurt Warner break it down, broke him down during the draft process and afterwards, and Kurt does a really good job. There were some things that he needed to work on, but guess what? Got Mark Brunell in the building. You got Ben Johnson in the building.
Hey.
You got a man who's got the right people around him. And he, guys, you know what I love? That rookie deal. That rookie deal. Look at what the Tennessee Titans just did. You want money? Well, you'll get money because Hendon Hooker, not only is he going to be on a rookie deal, he's played a lot of football up until this point. I know people bring up, well, he's, 20, what is he, 26, 27? He's old. Guys, you could play the quarterback position to your high 30s. So that gives you about 10 plus years with any quarterback that is that age. So, I'm cool with it. The quarterback position isn't like any other position. You want experience. You want someone that can play, to their high 30s. So I don't care about the age. That argument is irrelevant. You look at the mobility. You look at the arm. I mean, the size. He has the leadership. And there's a reason Brad took him. We got to be consistent here. Brad Holmes, great general manager, can identify talent. But Hendon, no. I promise you, Booner, he's the future.
No, hands
and
raised.
Jared,
be consistent. All right, Jeff, let's be consistent. And this is we're going off our quarterback conversations that we've all had about quarterbacks in the NFL, rookies, drafting quarterbacks. We've brought up, and you brought up to me the percentages of quarterbacks that hit. This is where I stand with the Hendon Hooker thing. Again, I'm gonna die on this hill. I think he has more talent than Jared Goff, arm talent. Everything he has can be better than Jared Goff. What's the thing that we talked about last week with quarterbacks? The hit percentage on them making it in the NFL. How low is that? That's the same thing with Hendon Hooker here. Is if you just say, hey, he's the future, let's move on from Jared Goff, someone you just won an NFC championship with, an NFC North with, something you've never done in the history of your organization, and you're just like, let's just move on to a guy that's never won in the league. Oh, cool, he's won in college. Guess what? JJ has. McCarthy has. Oh, he has talent. Guess what? Jaden Daniels does as well. But what's the saying? Like, I was told, the shout out Neil Rule, I was told that it's hard for quarterbacks to hit in the NFL when you draft them. So
can I raise the point, Booner?
You
can
raise the point just to finish that off and just to end that there. It's if Hendon Hooker can prove he can win football games, I am all in because to me he has a way higher, probably can double the ceiling, higher ceiling than Jared Goff when it comes to talent. But winning in the NFL is a big part. And I just got the back. Okay, go ahead.
No, because I'm going to pass it. I'm going to alley-oop like LeBron. Hold my hands up here. Okay, so let me, or like D-Wade. Let me say this one. Okay, at one point to counter your point, because you called me out a little bit. All right, about the quarterback sitting, which I appreciate, by the way. But here, this is why I got you. Two things that are different. One, he's sitting, which helps quarterback significantly. Two, he's in a great situation, something fair. Talk about all the time. So
yes,
you have one of the best offensive lines, weapons. A head coach like Dan Campbell. You got an offensive staff. You got a number one wide receiver. You got a tight end.
Again,
this is a situation that's beneficial to any quarterback.
Jeff, well, I'll meet you in the middle here. We do agree essentially because I do believe, like I said, Jared Goff will sign an extension. I think Jared Goff will be here for next year and maybe another year. I am with you on the point to where Hendon Hooker potentially could be the future of this Lions franchise, and he should be because of his ceiling and what he can do. But again, it's the sitting, it's the situation, it's can he go win football games? And if he can do that and he proves that the next year or two, Hendon Hooker is the guy, and you extend him. It's the same thing as a Jordan Love situation. Like if Aaron Rodgers never left, guess what? They still extend Jordan Love, and they keep Jordan Love behind Aaron Rodgers, and they let him go until Aaron Rodgers is gone, and then Jordan Love's in, and you see that now on how that helped him. It's the same thing to me with Jordan Love happened in the Green Bay, what's happening with Hendon Hooker in the Detroit Lions. Is Jared Goff will be here for another year, maybe two, and Hendon Hooker is your Jordan Love. He will be developed. He'll know how to win football games with the Lions, and he knows what to do in the NFL now, and he's in the right position. That's where we will meet in the middle, and I will agree with you.
Very, very well said, Booner.
Lucas,
very well said.
What's on your mind, baby?
Jeff, especially how the counter argument was exactly what I was going to say. Like, Booner, you're 100% right as far as we've broken down, like the picks, the quarterbacks that go high in the draft. But to Jeff's point, all right, now you've developed 2 years in Ben Johnson's system. No, you have not played any snaps in it, but you're still learning from Ben Johnson. You're still learning from Mark Brunell. You're still learning from Jared Goff. He even had that year with Teddy Bridgewater. So he's soaking in all these things to pause with all the intangibles that he has. And then you look at when the timing where he would start, if the Lions were to move onto him, Amon-Ra's in his prime. Jameer's in his prime. Samuel Laporta's in his prime. Penei Sewell's in his prime. That defense is probably getting better because all that young talent is progressing. So when you look at all these contenders around the NFL, the stable franchises, which we all think the Lions are, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Patriots back in the day, the Steelers, all of them, the Packers numerous times. When they move on to a quarterback, it's not for any reason. They know that this guy has what it takes. And I think they took Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round for a reason. You hear all the time, Brad talks about when you draft a player, and it's probably different for a quarterback, obviously, but you look at year 3, where are they at? So I think he applies that same thing with Hendon Hooker, where he's coming off an ACL injury. He's going to have to adapt to the speed of the game. Cool. Yep. We're going to let him develop behind Jared Goff, who's honestly probably his best thing is his feel for the game and being able to manage it, which is a skill. It's not a knock. So you let Hendon Hooker, with all those intangibles, learn how to be even better game manager, because Hendon Hooker has a very high football IQ. I think, to Jeff's point, and even you said it, Booner, I just think it's a matter of time before it's Hendon Hooker's football team. That's not a knock to Jared Goff, but we talk about it. When Jared Goff hits a wall, not saying it's going to be next year, but it's going to be an ugly one. I think it's going to be one with a steep decline, just because he doesn't have the strongest arm, and he already shows you he does not have the best mobility, and he does not have the best, especially in the pocket, the best ball security. So as far as when he gets pressured. So it's going to be one of those things where when you see Jared Goff kind of taking a degress, I think the Lions should absolutely at least see what you have in Hendon Hooker.
This is too real quick with this. I want to throw this out there. The timing of everything and what people don't understand, like with the Jared Goff extension, right? Say you extend Jared Goff for 2 years. When does that deal end then, right? Say you extend him for 2 years.
Well, 2 years. He has 1 year left next year, so that would be 3 years from now.
Okay, so
trade him though. They're not going to let him extend it.
Yeah, so this is what happens. Say you sign him for a 2-year deal. You extend for 2 years. So you have him for the next 3 years, right? When it comes down to that second year, that's Hendon Hooker's 3rd, 4th season. Then that's when you know, hey, Hendon Hooker hasn't started for us yet, but he's our future. Then you give him that Jordan Love extension, to where you give him the $30 million for another year or two, just like they gave Jordan Love. Let's see what you can do. Can you go out there and win? Let Hendon Hooker go prove it. You just had 2 or 3 winning years with Jared Goff. Now you hand the keys over to a Hendon Hooker in about 2 or 3 years, and you run off with that. Because then, like Lukas said, now everyone's in their prime. You have Hendon Hooker, who's in his 3rd year in the NFL, who now knows the game of the NFL, has been around winning with the NFL with Jared Goff and Dan, and now it's just all gas, no brakes. And that's where I think people are starting to misconstrue a little bit of, hey, this year is the Hendon Hooker year. And like Easy, shout out to Easy, but when Easy puts that tweet out and makes it seem like, oh, Hendon Hooker's coming this year for Jared Goff's job. I don't see that realistic right now, because you just won with Jared Goff. I think it's another year or two. And I think that's where, like, when those tweets get put out and things get put out, and misconstrued a little bit, to where it feels like, oh, no, Hendon Hooker's taking over this football team right now, which to me, it's just not happening. You're winning right now in the NFL. When you have a quarterback, unless a quarterback is doing like just extremely bad and is not a locker room guy, a guy like Jared Goff, like you saw the locker room get around him last year. These players are returning. That's their leader. Like you just, in the NFL, you just don't turn your head away from a leader. You don't after you're winning. So that's where I think the realistic part of it comes out, where he is a better player and he has better like talent. It's just right away, it's going to take a year or two. And in 2 years, that's what's going to happen.
Well, I'm going to watch here. I'm planting that flag. I'll say this right now.
Hit the horn, Jeff. Hit the horn. Hit the horn.
Okay. Attention. Hendon Hooker will be starting for the 2025-2026 season.
Wow. So next season?
No.
Like following. I'm saying, like not this season, but the following one.
Mm-hmm.
So no Goff extension?
You don't think they re-sign Goff then? Because that means Goff will probably play his final year.
This is where I'm struggling with. Okay. Jared Goff, and I'm kind of in lockstep with you, Lukas, when you brought up regression. Not that we're not preying on his downfall, but like that's a real thing that happens to quarterbacks. I mean, guys, like it up and down. It's hard to play at a high level for so long, and it's only been, man, it's only been what 2 years of high Pro Bowl level for Goff, which is great. He's getting older. He seems like he's aging well, but there's just limitations that he can't he can't control. Like he's not mobile. He doesn't take care of the ball well when pressured. Like there's just things that are out of his control. Like it's just been a thing throughout his whole career. So, for Hendon, and I get for people that are like, is he going to be ready? What if there's regression? you guys have to stop looking at Hendon as he's a 3rd round pick, so he has 3rd round talent. He was a 3rd round pick because of an ACL injury. He's a 1st rounder. And we see 1st rounders come into the NFL in the right situation with the right coaching and have success. I mean, Jalen Hurts was the youngest quarterback to ever reach a Super Bowl. Let's keep it 100 right now. Like, and people he was a late round pick. So I don't think there needs to be 3-4 years of development. I think this is a guy that you take 2 years, boom, he's ready. Let him go. He's old enough. He's been a quarterback. He wrote a book, I believe, on how to be a quarterback.
Yeah,
like
he did.
He's got enough experience playing the quarterback position. He has leadership. That's one thing you can't question with him. And I believe, given his talent, his potential could elevate this offense to be something pretty scary. With his mobility, it's 3rd and 10. No one's open. You got to account for Hooker and his legs. Like, that's a problem. That brings a whole new dimension to now defending this offense. To me, now it's going to be life after post. It's going to be life post Ben Johnson, which is a new thing. But I do have faith that Dan will find the right replacement. Won't be to Ben's level, but boys, I'm planting my flag. I think Hooker's going to start within the next 2 years.
And I was kind of going to piggyback off of what Adam said. Are you guys going to be concerned if post Ben Johnson, when he does move on, if Goff stays, are you guys going to be concerned for Goff in this offense? Because like you said, he is limited on to what he can do. When you don't have a magician like Ben Johnson, who knows like how good Jared Goff can actually be without him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can argue that you saw, and it's not that Jared was terrible when Anthony Lynn was the offensive coordinator, because at the same time, like his receiving core, Rashad Perriman, like I can't even remember some of the names that were out there for the wide receiver core. Like, it was the worst in the league. And Daryl Hodge, what are you doing getting actual reps on the field? It makes no sense either way.
Yeah, that's
Jared,
true. That's true.
You watch him, even his confidence with Ben, it is improved. So I think Jared, regardless, after Ben leaves, is still going to be a better quarterback than when he first entered Detroit. But now he's going to have to relearn a whole new system. And I think at the time and where the NFL is going, I think he is always going to be fighting an uphill battle. So when you take away some of the momentum that he has going uphill, there's going to be a digression. There's going to be some type of, at least in the confidence, the decision-making, it's all going to be different because the whole offense is going to be at different timing. So a lot of these routes, a lot of just even the simple pass protection and how the design is made up, it's going to be different for Jared. And I think Jared's one of those guys where he has to get into a rhythm. He's not going to be able to be just go in there and overcome everything. I mean, you've seen that when he was in LA, when he was first drafted, when he went to Detroit, he's not one of those quarterbacks that can just overcome. And that's not a knock. Not many can, but he's not that guy. When you have a quarterback like Hendon Hooker, to your point, Jeff, with mobility, when you have guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, when you have guys like Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, there's a whole nother level of that offense besides just the run. When Hendon Hooker gets out of the pocket and you have ability to make plays, those players now have ability to create in the scramble drill and find the holes in the zone coverage. That's even more yardage. And then you go to the run after the catch with that. I think there's so many layers of this offense that Hendon Hooker can bring back out after Ben Johnson leaves. So that's why it's promising. And that's why they didn't extend him yet. So just real quick, like they're probably still have some question marks. Like if Ben leaves, Jared, what are you? We don't want to sign you long term if Ben leaves, and now that's a huge thing where the offense dips. So that probably has some factor.
So a couple things to me, and I do think if there's an extension done this summer, then I think we almost have our answer. Not maybe quite, but when we see what this extension is, we'll have a little bit of an answer.
Right.
I do think though I'm just so stuck on the part to where like the Detroit Lions are winning football games. And they're doing it with Jared Goff, and they've had back-to-back years with the top 5 offense. And yeah, that might be a Ben Johnson scenario. Who knows what life is after Ben Johnson and Jared Goff? But as of now, it's when you do break it down, and I see Adam putting it as well in there. It's like the defense on their side. Like you're putting out a top 5 offense on the field with the Jared Goff out there. So it's to like, yeah, will Hendon Hooker elevate that? How much higher will he elevate that? Will you be the number 1 when you're already like the number 2? That's where I'm at, to where it's, hey, you are winning. Maybe the needs, to Adam's point, is the defensive side of the ball, to where who even cares if Hendon Hooker takes over? You have a Super Bowl team right now, and you just had one last year, and you have another one this year, and then potentially the next year. And we're like, now it's like, okay, now it's a quarterback battle. When really you can win a Super Bowl if you just fix your defense, and your defense gets top 15, and you can win a Super Bowl. And it has nothing to do with your quarterback. Like your quarterback, you could do it with your quarterback you have now. To me, where it's like, hey, when you do move on from Jared Goff? What if you keep getting to this point and it's your defense that's the problem, and you move on from Jared Goff and you still have that defense, and Hendon Hooker is he's playing in his first NFL game, starting his first NFL season, and yeah, he might have the talent, but then he just doesn't win football games, and now you're still stuck in that. Do you see where I'm coming with that? That's why I'm like, it's so hard for me in the NFL, and I say this all the time to you guys, and you guys have heard it 100 times. It's just, when you have a team that's winning football games and a quarterback that just knows how to win, even if you can't do the talent, like isn't as talented as some guys in the league, like a Patrick Mahomes or, Jalen Hurts, where he mobility, and Josh Allen, it's just, why would you move on from winning football games when you're not? And Eduardo put it, Booner's afraid of the new. Yeah, I'm afraid of the new because we just started winning football games and Jared Goff's playing good football, and everyone's like, all right, let's just move on from him now because we have someone we drafted in the 3rd round. Is that a must you have to do? You're winning football games. Address the defense. Go win a Super Bowl.
Here's my counter argument to that, because I will agree with you on the part where you're saying, and Adam's saying that the problem right now is the defense. Agreed. But again, this is a problem that you're eventually going to have to face. Well, not a problem, but it's a situation you're going to have to face eventually. It's just figuring out whether Jared's the future or not. That's something that is real. I'm not saying it's the thing that'll take the Lions over the top. I'm not sure. But I will say this. If let's say the Lions, and I'm just throwing out scenarios here, and maybe if the Lions go out and make another NFC championship appearance or Super Bowl, maybe they're like, man, we got to extend Goff. But let's say they fall a little short, and you're in a situation where you're thinking to yourself, man, we're about to pay Jared $45+ million. Could we get away with having Hendon Hooker on a 3rd round contract, and then you could add to this defense? Now you can start getting into this, getting free agents or, extending other players. Like, you free up money for other needs on your football team. So that's where I do think it does help long term. Not saying it, replace Jared with Hendon and you got a Super Bowl on your hands. No, I'm not saying that. But down the line, I do think financially you will benefit from that. I will say that.